All right, here's a quick little article, and you're going to have to pause and read while I highlight because I'm just going to go through a few of the items, and then you're going to have questions that are relating to items that I don't quite go over too much but are in the reading. And what it is kind of a review of yesterday that there are different choices that deal with feed, and in this case, pet food, that are expensive, and are they actually better for your pet? The first little part here is talking about how much money we spend. And it's ridiculous, and I am not any different, so don't look at me as being perfect. I bought a St. Bernard. It cost us $500. I then choose to feed it the more expensive feed. But am I actually doing any good to it? I don't get too crazy doing things with organic, or definitely don't do raw, because the problem with our raw would be, why am I feeding something that if it's raw, that means it's mostly water? Why am I feeding it mostly water? I want to be getting back up here to feeding it more of a dry matter item, because the dog can drink water on its own. As you can see, then it gets more and more expensive, and people that are spending $12 a pound on their pet, that's more than what I feed myself with. We get then into a bunch of this article that's dealing with how there are claims and claims and claims about how feed is, or their items and terminology are dealing with how they use the word natural to try to get people to buy their food. And in all reality, the natural claim isn't any substantial. There's nothing to it. It just means that you put stuff into a bag of feed. And if you have that in there, then maybe you'll grab people to think that, oh, it's natural, so I'm going to buy it. Well, in all reality, what we're looking for in all of our feed is nutrients. And where one of the best places to get nutrients are byproducts. Byproducts are a scary word because we look at it and say, oh my goodness, you're feeding our animals livers and chicken feet. Well, we already told you that that's a cultural item. And our pets and like our dogs and our cats and even our cattle weren't domesticated to be picky. They aren't domesticated to pick flesh. They're domesticated to eat. And with that eating, they are looking for certain nutrients. If we can get it out of chicken feet and out of liver, we should. The article then goes on to talk about how this rendering process makes it so the food is actually safer because it has been transferred over, and then it's also been heated up so it does get rid of items. So it's actually a safer product. It also then talks about how if we start to use all of these rendering ones, then we are actually helping the planet more than if we try to feed our pets like we feed ourselves. And the amount of items that we have to waste then that don't go anywhere right now, if we can get them into our pets, then that's a good spot for it. We then talk more about how it is safe and they are regulated and they don't just throw anything into there. It is regulated. And then we get confusing into the range of where we start to think that the smaller ones are better than bigger ones, or like Walmart's bad and evil. And the Walmart of pet food is what's called Purina. Purina is like the Walmart, it's the giant company, and it's then been marked as an evil. And with that evil, then little companies like Blue Buffalo are even better. However, all of these companies then are regulated, and with the regulation, they all make mistakes. The small ones make mistakes to where they weren't paying attention to exactly what they were putting into their non-byproduct meals, and then also Purina came back and it screwed up in its own to where it started to show that it wasn't being very transparent. So they're regulated, and if they screw up, both of them get regulated by the government so that our consumers are going to get a better product. That continues on here so that we know we're being regulated so that your food has not just like what we did, where you got to grab whatever you want and you threw it in there. It boils down to the idea that we have regulations to keep you safe. And we have so many people starting to get into this idea of where you read items that make it so it's even better for you and it's great. Well, that's just advertising. It's advertising, it's advertising, it's advertising. Our pets are looking for nutrients. We want them to get the nutrient. However, now that our pets have been brought into our tables, literally, pets have been brought into our tables to eat alongside of us, we then personify them to make them think that they need certain types of nutrients like we do. They aren't us. They're going to lick their butt, and they're going to go outside and eat their poop because they are animals that have been domesticated that way. They aren't socialized. So, as we finish this little article, it's right here to where we are looking, and I hope as animal science students, you get beyond the idea of flash and get into the idea of look at your nutrient line, look at your digestibility, look at that protein level, and try to find the best one for you, recommended by veterinarians and recommended by your own knowledge, not by whether or not it's kibbles and bits. Make it more based on homework and not based on advertising.